Is it a pencil? Is it a computer? Is it a paragraph? How can we reinvent writing? We're going to hear next.
Vicki Davis, the cool cat teacher from Georgia, is a blogger, a podcaster, and an author. And we are here today to talk with her about her latest book called Reinventing Writing. Writing, every teacher's most stressful subject to teach. Right, Vicki?
Except some might say math, but yeah, it can't. It doesn't have to be, though. You know, we need to use the peer review and so many things we can do that can help teachers not have to stress so much about it. You know.
So tell us, what's the main crux of your book? What are you trying to get across to teachers in your new book that you wrote?
I'm trying to help them understand that writing has been reinvented. I basically took all the different ways we used writing in my classroom and I wrote them all on Post-it notes and lots of apps and came up with 9 basic tools. I call them the Collaborative Writing Cloud 9. And these Cloud 9 tools, if you understand them or if students use them, they really understand a complete toolkit of writing tools that are out there. But then also, after I go into those tools, I talk about how to build community and how to build a writing community, and they'll kind of take over and kind of almost push itself forward where the teacher becomes more of the facilitator and less of the all-night grader, which I think most writing teachers want to move past.
Oh yeah, all those papers just pile up, and I always think that the feedback sometimes we give when we're writing is autopsies rather than feedback in process. So tell us, like, what does that look like as far as like feedback if you're reinventing writing?
Well, you know, the big thing is, first of all, students need an authentic audience. We know that audience improves student performance, and when they're writing for your wastebasket, it's a waste. They should be writing for an audience, and, you know, it may be a process to get there. But, you know, for example, before it gets to you, the teacher, it should really run, you know, they put it in a Google Doc or write it in Word, but it should really run through something like Pro Writing Aid or Grammarly. Something that will really help them do all kinds of different things. You know, it'll find overused words, it'll do grammar, it does so much more than just the traditional spelling and grammar check. But then it should run through peers and all the things that we've learned. You know, for example, I've seen students read into the cell phone what the paper sounds like, and then the author listens back to it and says, oh, that's not what I said. And it's like, yes, it is. You didn't include the punctuation. They're really using something like Google Docs or wikis or however you write, that peer feedback of students giving feedback to one another and then really creating a finished product that can be shared. That's more how it should go. And then the teacher come in at the end. But I'm afraid what happens is students draft, they give it to their teacher, it's a poor draft usually. The teacher marks it up as best they can and says, oh, I didn't get everything. The students just fix what the teacher says to fix, and they're not thinking about their writing. They're just kind of automatons that just fix everything and hand it back to the teacher instead of really thinking about what point am I trying to get across and how am I trying to communicate. Am I using powerful words, and you know, what can I do to really improve? And you know, y'all blog and I blog, and I think that when my writing really took a new level was when I was blogging and getting feedback on it and seeing what resonates. I mean, even Twitter teaches me about writing because the little things people pull out and tweet, it's like, oh, that was a good way to use those words.
Now, so what you're looking for is kids to think critically about their writing, and first they have to think critically about someone else's writing, I believe, and that's what I've seen with my own kids. Then they start applying that critical thinking that they've been working on with a peer edit to their own work, don't they?
Yeah, it's kind of like a love of writing that you build when you have the goal is to build a community of writers, students who love to write, but also students who have a toolbox that they know when. I mean, the Collaborative Writing Cloud 9, you're looking at wikis, collaborative word processors, which there's quite a few, e-paper, which is, do they know how to create e-paper, but do they also know how to download it and read it and mark it up? Cloud syncing like Dropbox and Google Drive. You've got graphic organizers, social bookmarking, collaborative notebooks, and then you've got your blogging and microblogging. and then cartooning and graphic novels / infographics. I actually include infographics in writing because if you look at blog posts, for example, people read the captions under a picture in a blog post 300% more than they read the body copy. And if you're just teaching essays, you're not teaching the full realm of what writing is today. I mean, contextual hyperlinks, there's so many things. And, you know, I really wrote this book. We did a writing across the curriculum class at school. And we had all these ways we were supposed to do writing across the curriculum, and I kept looking for, like, okay, where's social bookmarking and research, and where's, like, it just totally didn't fit electronic writing, which is what I do. So I did all this research, and so it's kind of an extension out of that, you know, writing across the curriculum. Okay, let's write across various media. Let's, you know, it's okay to write by hand. I still do that. I have I'm working on a book. I have note cards. I use those, but I also use Digo and Evernote.
Hey Vicki, where do I start? If I'm a teacher and I'm looking to reinvent my writing, what's my best first step towards it?
Honestly, it's what you're allowed to use at your school, because some schools are so restricted. If you've already heard something, you know, I think that teachers, as they go on their technology journey, need to use things that they're intrigued or interested in. Now, obviously, I think wikis are very important, although they may not be for beginning teachers. Google Docs is one of the most powerful tools that they need to use. But even things like, are they reading on e-paper? I mean, that's important. What I always suggest is, in my last chapter is my favorite. It's about my model of innovation, which is innovate like a turtle. I always have 3 things, and I try to move ahead on those 3 things because, I mean, I am just completely exhausted. I know, like you guys are. I've got National Honor Society initiation. I had all this stuff with the seniors and the guidance stuff. I mean, it's just nuts. So when you innovate like a turtle, you ask yourself, did I move forward a little bit today? And how am I going to move forward a little bit tomorrow? And when you do that and you look back across your journey, it's kind of like your guys' global play, what's it called? The Global School Play Day, yeah. Right? You started with a little baby step, and you move forward, and then you move forward, and then at some point, it gains momentum, and you realize you're at the top of a hill, and there's a bunch of mud, and you just slide, you know, and then you just slide up. I mean, it just kind of accelerates, and that's how change is. So I would tell teachers, you know, start with Google Docs and move on. I was laughing at my students the other day. I was talking to somebody about them, and I'm like, you know, they're Google Doc ninjas. But they're also Word ninjas and PowerPoint ninjas. They can just move from every tool to every other tool, and I think that, you know, troubleshooting is higher order thinking. We don't need to sanitize things and say, okay, you're going to use one tool. You know, I tell our teachers, never say make a PowerPoint. I always say create a multimedia artifact, or write on such and such, but don't tell them they have to write by hand on paper, or, you know, don't tell them how they write, just ask them to write, and then have ways that help them collaborate.
Now, you're a high school teacher, right, Vicki?
Grades 8, 9, and 10. I work with the curriculum for our whole school, though. I just had 5th graders in my room today. They were writing history reports. So
cool. Now, tell us, in your evolution, your personal evolution in becoming a better writer teacher. I assume that you look back now and you think, oh man, why did I used to do that? What have you learned over the years from being a writing teacher? What mistake did you used to make that now you're looking at it going, I need to do it this way?
Honestly, now, if a student gives me a paper, when I have to do papers, and I still have to teach some MLA format, and it's not spell checked, they can't pass. Okay, that sounds extreme, but they should be using spell check. They should be. That's the minimum. But I ask them to run it through either ProWriting 8 or Grammarly, because it should really, you know, take their writing further. I shouldn't really have a paper or anything handed to me unless somebody's peer reviewed it. I actually give a grade for the peer reviewer and for the person who wrote the paper. We need to have this process of learning that involves peers, and writing involves peers. When I have something important, I mean, when I write for Edutopia, I write it, and 3 other people edit, review, we discuss back and forth. I don't just have it finished. And, I've been writing for years and years. So we need to have students be part of that. So I think my biggest mistake was that I was the first person to read their work when they would turn it into me. And then the other was not having them blog. I think it's important to have students blog. I have a private Ning, and they write on that. We're working to create a school-wide WordPress, and I'm planning on having them write there as well. I think that every student needs an audience.
That's so true. And Vicki, again, blowing our minds with some amazing things. Where can people connect more with you, like they don't know already, because you're out there and like sharing, and it's beautiful? Where can they connect more with you?
I'm Cool Cat Teacher everywhere. Twitter, Tumblr, I'm VickiDavis.me, but you can go to coolcatteacher.com. All the links are there. My show is Every Classroom Matters. It's the name of the show. So just about everywhere you can just look up Cool Cat Teacher. There are quite a few Vicki Davises. I mean, there's a Vicki Davis dog catcher in Florida, so you're probably better off looking up Cool Cat Teacher than you are Vicki Davis. So.
Yeah, and please, folks, listen to Every Classroom Matters. It's on my subscription list on my podcasts on my device, and I don't miss a show. It's great stuff, and we really appreciate you taking the time to come on our show today. And just a reminder that Global School Play Day, as Vicki mentioned, is the first Wednesday in February, and we just encourage you to go to globalschoolplayday.com, check it out, get involved, because our kids need to play again.
Absolutely. And Mom and Dad, once again, like always, thanks so much.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, Mom and Dad.
Thank you.